Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLuga. Thanks so much for being here. Got some breaking news from the Jacksonville Jaguars here. Neil Stratton at Inside the League on Twitter reports, after 3 years with Jax, Ethan Waugh will not return as assistant GM of the Jaguars as new general manager James Gladstone begins to reshape the front office. Waugh previously spent almost 2 decades with the 49ers as their VP of player personnel, should see multiple NFL front office opportunities soon. So yeah, this does not come as a major surprise at all. And thank you all so much for tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. So Ethan Waugh, who came over as Trent Baalke's assistant general manager a couple years back, right? And really, in my opinion, did a very good job kind of helping reshape the processes the Jaguars have in the front office and the way they scout. And I think he did a good job overall for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think he's a very smart, bright guy. I like the way whenever we've had opportunities to interact with him, to interview him, I like the way he thinks about the game. I like the way he thinks about roster building and talent evaluation, all that stuff. Again, I don't think this is really anything against Ethan Waugh, the talent evaluator, the assistant GM, the interim GM for the Jaguars, right? But I ultimately think that Waugh and James Gladstone, the Jaguars' new GM, come from such different worlds. Like, where James Gladstone comes from, the way he thinks about roster building, about team building, about the value of draft capital, about being bold, about talent evaluation, the way he thinks about these things is so diametrically opposed to so much of what Ethan Waugh came up with, because Ethan Waugh in San Francisco came from a Trent Baalke background. Like, he worked under Trent Baalke for a long time. They were coworkers, and then he came to Jacksonville and worked with Trent Baalke. And obviously he was in San Francisco for some years in between that, but the 49ers, they did not approach the draft really similarly to what James Gladstone and the Jaguars are doing now. I can only imagine being Ethan Waugh and being used to this world where it's all about traits, it's all about size, length, athleticism, strength. And your team decides, we're going to trade the farm. And they didn't really trade the farm, but we're going to make a really bold trade. We're going to give up a first-round pick and a second-round pick and use our current first-round pick to go get Travis Hunter, who is 185 pounds, 6 feet tall. And then you go throughout the rest of the draft and you're looking at guys that, like, a lot of them, Trent Baalke wouldn't have even been close to being in on, right? Like, Caleb Ransaw probably could have been a Trent Baalke guy just with his athletic traits, but Wyatt Milam probably no, Jack Kaiser probably no, Rayon Lane probably no, Jonah Monheim, LaQuint Allen, but that's kind of the direction the Jaguars went. They want guys that can contribute in specific ways, guys that are intangibly rich. I think that the cultures, the worlds that they come from, the scouting backgrounds are just so diametrically opposed in a lot of ways that it was going to be difficult for Ethan Waugh to stick around in Jacksonville. And it probably just was honestly probably a foregone conclusion as soon as James Gladstone got the job that Ethan Waugh probably wasn't going to be a Jacksonville Jaguar front office member anymore. And James Gladstone, he's going to want to build this thing with like-minded people, with up-and-coming stars that he believes can help change this organization and change the league for the better. That's kind of where he's at right now. That's where James Gladstone is. That's the headspace he's in. So I think while neither philosophy or neither background is necessarily right or wrong, I do think that James Gladstone's a lot more forward thinking, and a lot of the thought process that probably in the background when you talk about an Ethan Waugh goes back to Bill Parcells, right? Like, that's where Trent Baalke learned how to scout, and that's kind of how he stuck to it. Like, he believes a lot in the Bill Parcells method of scouting, and so Ethan Waugh came up with a lot of that. Obviously, he learned from John Lynch and others along the way as well, but it's just two different worlds that I think these guys are living in. Now, I do think Ethan Waugh should have an opportunity to land as the report said. I think he should have an opportunity to land with a team very quickly. Will it be this offseason? I don't know, but he deserves to have a role with a team that just kind of sees things a little bit differently than the Jaguars see them right now. And again, I'm not here to anoint the Jaguars and say that they're going to be the next big thing in the NFL because James Gladstone has this different way of thinking. I think that's possible. I really like the way James Gladstone is thinking. He's kind of turning things on its head and really pushing the envelope and pushing the boundaries and trying to break down walls, not only with the way he thinks about it, but the players he's adding, the trades, all that stuff. So I'm excited about what the Jaguars are doing, but to sit here and crown them, I think would be folly. And I do think Ethan Waugh is a very smart, process-oriented guy, smart talent evaluator. I think that he helped the Jaguars with their trade downs the last couple years, landing Anton Harrison in a trade down, landing Brian Thomas Jr. in a trade down, and I think that he was a very positive influence overall in the Trent Baalke regime, but it was probably a little too late. And, it was a sinking ship here in Jacksonville after the first year. So there was a lot of ways to look at it, and we don't need to rehash that stuff too much. We've talked about it a lot, but the Jaguars are headed in a completely different direction. I think James Gladstone is going to hire a lot of people that he believes in, and they might not be from the Rams or from the McVay world or the Les Snead world, but they might just be people that he really believes in, right? Like he is a perfect example of you can find executives, you can find front office people all over the place. Like he was working in high school. He was at an event with Les Snead's high schooler at the time doing football. And Les Snead was just so impressed with him. He wanted to hire him. And he did. And the rest is history. He rapidly moved up the ranks with the Rams. Now he's the Jaguars general manager. And he's going to march to the beat of his own drum as he so clearly has said he's going to do. And now he was able to put action to that by, executing the Travis Hunter trade and really making the most shocking, dynamic draft trade that the Jaguars as an organization have ever made. And so it's fireworks in Jacksonville right now. Travis Hunter's here. You've got your cornerback one, your wide receiver one, all in one package with Travis Hunter. He's going to elevate this organization. And as James Gladstone would say, he's going to elevate this ecosystem by being nothing more than himself. You can recite this stuff by now, how much he's said it, but he believes in it. And I think belief in yourself, belief in your thought process, confidence to execute what you really want to do, try to break down these walls and try to do something different that hasn't been done in Jacksonville or maybe really anywhere else besides LA, because they've been very unconventional as well in their approach to team building, roster building, etc. James Gladstone has this team moving in a different direction, and Ethan Waugh will no longer be a part of that. Again, nothing against Ethan Waugh. I think he's going to land on his feet. I think he's going to have a fruitful rest of his career as an NFL executive. It'd be cool to see him get an opportunity to run a team one day. Hopefully he can have that. I think he's probably deserving of it, quite frankly. When you look at some of the other GMs around the league, I think Ethan Waugh is probably deserving of it. So that'll do it, though. Ethan Waugh no longer with the Jacksonville Jaguars after 3 years serving as the assistant GM and then the interim GM after Trent Baalke was let go by the team, or mutually agreed to part ways, whatever you want to call it. Ethan Waugh, best of luck to you. It was nice getting to know Ethan Waugh while he was here. I expect the Jaguars will have a lot of changes in the front office and throughout the organization over the coming year or so. And now moving into 2026, really the rest of 2025 and then 2026 offseason, you're going to see this be a full James Gladstone thing. Like James Gladstone came in and tried to assimilate a little bit with what the Jaguars had been doing. Now it's going to be James Gladstone's show completely moving forward. So that is exciting. I'm excited for James Gladstone to get that opportunity. Hopefully Ethan Waugh gets an opportunity here real soon. Again, really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. Y'all have a good one.